Hello, welcome to another periodic episode of Friday Fun, or Fun Friday. I never can remember which way round it is that I do it, because I probably don't do them often enough. But I thought I'd slot one in quickly, because today we've got the Pittsburgh Modular Lifeforms Origin SV-1. Now, I reviewed this back in the day, probably last year, and I had a really early version, and I just went to Superbooth a couple of weeks ago. You may have seen all our video coverage. If not, check it out. There's lots, 80 plus videos, lots of things, and a few more things to come. And they replaced it for me because my early prototype had an issue with oscillator tracking. So they said, oh, swap it out. So I took mine over to Berlin and brought it back. And I'm glad I did, because this thing, I remember when I reviewed it, it's a lovely little synth. It's just got a really nice meaty quality to it. Pair of oscillators, a nice multi-mode filter, envelope, bit of patching, sort of MIDI business, and of course, as is seemingly traditional now, I'm going into the clouds. Only reason I'm using the clouds here is I'm using it as a kind of reverb slash delay. I'm not doing anything fancy with it. There's no kind of, you know, I've been getting a lot of stick about not modulating it, but it sounds really good as just a straight effects generator. So I've got a timed delay set up with the tempo of the KeyStep Pro, or not the KeyStep Pro, the KeyStep. I keep saying KeyStep Pro. There's a conspiracy theory which seems to think that I know something about a KeyStep Pro that's coming out, which I don't. I just keep saying it because I've got a BeatStep Pro and I get them messed up. So BeatStep Pro coming out. I did try patching a couple of other things. There's probably a bit too many patch labels, patch cords here for. I'm just coming MIDI out into the MIDI in of the SV-1, which is via this little adapter, and I'm just sort of playing with the envelopes and the filter, the oscillator and the filter and the envelope depth, and it's just really, really nice. And I've been sitting here for ages just sort of messing around. In fact, it's quite late on a Friday, because normally I try and do it a bit earlier, but I've just been getting a bit lost in it. So I'm going to carry on now. So let's take a look and see what it does. Just start with sine here, and I've got a really nice bit of portamento. Bring that sub oscillator in. Bandpass filter in here. great sounding oscillators, and the envelope is just really nice and snappy, very musical. I've got a little bit of mod coming in on I'll turn that up from the digital LFO, which is happening just there. And just generally, the thing about this, I'd forgotten about it, I hadn't used it for ages, and these oscillators sound absolutely fantastic. They really have a bit of beef and a bit of weight and authority about them, and the filter just sounds lovely. I mean, I can also, you know, I'm not using the freeze on this, like I say. I'm just using a kind of time delay into a reverb to give it that extra bit of ambience. So it's really only one instrument with an effect on it. I'm not using Clouds any more complicatedly than that. Just incidentally, the Clouds is the kind of anniversary edition I was given for the 500th episode of Sonic Talk. It's got 500 and it's called Fulsome Clouds, but it's the same kind of thing. I mean, you can still buy kits, but it's discontinued. We hear that Olivier is going to be producing something that kind of fulfills similar features in a new thing. He's very kind of disciplined about that. I mean, he could probably still sell loads of these, but he's chosen to move on. Good for him. So let's get on to a bit more. I'm going to play you out. That was Fun Friday, or Friday Fun, featuring the Pittsburgh Modular Lifeforms SV-1 Black Box Edition, which is the one that is a separate kind of desktop version that you can just run as a standalone, and it does sound really good. And like I say, my version, because it was a very early prototype, the stability of the oscillators was a little, and the tracking was a bit off, but now it's absolutely bang on. And if you actually have an issue with yours, they can fix it for you, I've been told as well. So yeah, all good news all round. Let's go.